Evening, everybody. It is open mic. Adam, what are you doing down there, buddy?
I don't know. I'm in a different square tonight. I like it.
He's the secret square, ladies and gentlemen. It's open mic night. It's Tuesday night with the Driving to the Top gang. I am Big Rich. To my right on your screen, Haas eating his dinner. What are you doing, man?
You're
bringing the sauce,
actually,
huh?
Rich. You're to my left on the screen, Rich.
I actually forgot to pull it up, but yeah, Haas bringing the sauce. Ball kicking back, laying in the shade. Ain't nobody tripping because the money already made. Rest in peace, Pipsy.
Below him, Adam. What are you doing, buddy? What do you mean? I think you got mirror image on your computer or something, man. So what's going on, man? How are you?
Just hanging in there, man. How are you?
Good. And we got to talk a little College World Series here in just a minute, guys. Right below me is Ken, the Bear fan. Ken, what do you think, buddy?
Hey, good evening, guys. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I was up in this house messing with you guys. But I don't have to worry about getting paid. I'm retired. I have the ultimate paycheck, grandbaby daycare time.
Aha.
Congrats.
Ken, you mentioned you went to the beach. You don't look that tan from going to the beach. You got ripped out.
I didn't go to the beach. Last Friday, I did the round trip to Panama City Beach because I had to get – so I bought my Harley at PCB Harley, which is 115 miles from my house. Even though it's a Harley, about 14 miles from my house. So I had to get a new windscreen, and they had to do the install. So I rode out to PCB, rode back from PCB, so about 230 miles, and no SPF. So that's why I'm in the long sleeve today, because I had to go cut the grass. So, kind of a little burnt, had a little, lots of sun. Lots of sun going to Panama City Beach.
Is that a nice, easy ride, though? It's probably all highway.
So the way out there, I did I-10, and then the way back, I did the regular road. So, yeah, it was – I-10 beats you up a little bit more, especially with the stock windscreen on the way back. It was, on the way back, I go through Panama City to Destin to Fort Walton to home kind of thing. So that was a nice, easy ride. I didn't do the Gulf ride because I knew I'd be sitting there forever because that's where all the tourists are, getting those little beach communities. And it's a nice ride, but I just wanted to get home at that point. So I took the faster route, which is direct route down 87.
Gotcha.
Charles, how we doing, man?
How are you gentlemen doing? Happy summertime or whatever you guys were talking about there in the summertime and out there having fun.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask you guys something.
Go ahead.
Did you guys see what a certain young man named Gage Wood did?
No hitter.
Oh,
Gage
yeah,
Wood.
man. Oh, wow.
You see his arm. His arm is juiced up.
9 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 19 strikeouts, faced 1 over the minimum as Arkansas knocked out Murray State in the College World Series 3-0 yesterday. The most dominant performance in the history of the College World Series, bar none.
He faced that 1 over the minimum, Rich, because he had a hit by pitch.
Yep.
Only the third time they had a no-hitter in Omaha. And that was the third time.
And the first one in 40 years.
So how soon till we see him pitch in the MLB? This fall, maybe?
He's supposed to be a first-round draft pick.
He is, yeah. I hear he's going to be a first-round pick. From what I hear, like mid-first round. I don't know. I mean,
he's not even the best pitching prospect on his team. I mean, this year is loaded with a lot of really good pitching prospects. The guy from Louisville, Forbes, is really good. Liam Doyle didn't make it. Jason, there's a lot of really good pitching prospects in this draft. Gage Wood was kind of like well sought after, but he was almost like under the radar. But he just totally blew him away in that game against Murray State.
That's the thing that always gets me about college baseball, though, because we have the draft right after the College World Series, pretty much, right? And I always think back to Mark Pryor because Mark Pryor got drafted. And within, 90 days, he was pitching for Chicago. And he basically goes a season and a half and then spends 10 years getting teams to pay him $1 million a year to rehab his left shoulder or his right shoulder. So I wonder if going straight from college, draft, and within 90 days later now pitching in the bigs, if that's doing a disservice to some of these pitchers because they don't get any kind of break at all.
I
Maybe
think you're right.
kids aren't designed for breaks anymore.
By the way, according to MLB.com, Gage Wood is the number 50 prospect in the nation.
That'll change. After that throw, that'll change.
I'm sure it will, but I think you're right though. Because we saw Todd Van Poppel do that. Kid that I played against in Arlington, that was drafted by the Oakland A's. They brought him up at the end of the season and tore his arm up.
The biggest difference, I think you guys have said it. To me, the level of a really good like college baseball World Series and AA is not different. It's about the same. The biggest difference is the intensity of the games, like you guys said. Like in minor league baseball, and I was just talking to a minor league announcer, like they're not going to wear out the guys and they're not going to do all that. In college baseball, they're trying to win games. You're going to pitch 15 innings if you need to win that game. Their coach is trying to win the game. So that's why you see pitchers kind of wore out. Ben McDonald, as great as he was, they always said that him with the Orioles, like he had injury issues because he was such a good college pitcher. They really pitched him a lot. And so had he a lot of players think, yeah, that's the reason why they haven't they tear out their arms and stuff.
If the Cubs don't run Pryor out there in the 02 season, right? Because then he had the good 03. But if they don't run him out there in 02, what does it say for 04, 05? Does that Cubs team, which was a really good team back in that day, because they were really, 03, they made a good run, and we got the whole Bartman ball and all that. But if they didn't rush Pryor from college, does 04 look different and the Cubs make another run and maybe get to the World Series? Because remember, then you had Pryor goes down, Wood then gets overused, Wood goes down. The pitching core that built Chicago then had to go fall on Zambrano, and he was a mental head case. So rushing these players out of college, when they draft them in about a month or so, or about 2 or 3 weeks, whenever they draft them, and then rushing them out into the big league diamond, I think that does all these players more disservice. Like, okay, at best you might see some AA this year, if anything, or go to some rookie ball, and then next year will determine where you go.
Well, Adam and I talked about this with Skeens because I wanted him to do exactly what he did. He spent some time in the minor. He had a full spring training. He had a month or so in the minors, and then he came up to get himself acclimated to the whole thing. Because like Rav said, it's a whole different atmosphere from college ball to professional ball. You got to get your body acclimated, your head acclimated, the whole shooting match. And if you can give yourself time, I know Adam wanted to see him come up opening day. I thought that was a little too fast. You had to give him a chance to really get into the routine and all that kind of stuff. It's paid off. Did it cost him 4 or 5 starts in his rookie season? Yeah. But in the long run, if it keeps him healthy and keeps his arm stretched out, I'm down with that. If we can keep Skeens healthy, because he's the same type of guy that Kerry Wood was when he came out, that Strasburg was when he came out, all the hype, all the potential in the world, and they got hurt. Well, here's hoping that Skeens doesn't,
They go from traveling coach or on a bus to chartered plane and per diem.
Well, that too.
I mean, there's so many differences. I think they really, the guys who get drafted, none of them should get called up this year. Go play some rookie ball at best. Maybe AA if they really want to push it. Get a full spring training, and then if you think he's got what it takes to be a big leaguer, bring him up, or wait 4 or 5 starts and bring him up. But I mean, there's something to that. I think more teams take that track now, Rich, than they did before, because we learned from the Mark Pryors and the Van Poppels and we learned from those guys.
The Angels are doing the opposite right now. 2 straight years. Nolan Schegel, he's already in the majors. He played 2023 World Series. He's already a vet now. He's played Christian Moore at second base. He played the College World Series last summer and he's already either starting second base. Offensive guys
It's
is a little
different for
different.
position players. Yeah, it's different for position players.
Yeah. So some guys.
Wyatt Langford for the Rangers did the same thing.
Yeah, position players are different.
Yeah.
The only position player I might take pause at, though, would be a catcher. Like, I don't think I want to take a catcher who just was in the College World Series and throw him in. Like, no, you need a spring training to learn these pitchers. But, I mean, everyone else in the diamond, minus the pitcher and the catcher, like, you could probably bring in a first baseman, a shortstop, a second baseman, a right fielder, whatever, right off the rip and be okay.
I guess Rab could really answer that one because Wieters was supposed to be awesome, and then do you think he came up too early, Rab? Is that a good point right there with a catcher with a player position?
I don't think Wieters in particular came up too early. I think they took their time. The Orioles are not a good team for that. They forever slow walk their prospects. They're not a team like Atlanta or Chicago or the Orioles. I can't think of too many guys they bring up really quickly during the organization. But yeah, I agree. Catchers take a while. There's a lot to learn. There's a reason why they have pitchers and catchers come first. And so right. I do think that's why it takes a while for catchers to do that. So I got no problem with that.
Well, guys, we have something that we were teasing last week that we need to get into tonight. And hopefully everybody has taken their notes, did their homework, all that kind of good stuff. Talking about the NFL and the top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
Did I do my own? Rich, I got a little bit written down from when I talked to you an hour ago.
I told you I had mine done. I had mine done yesterday. So I know mine is one of those that's going to have some of you guys scratching your heads and going, have you lost your mind? But
I started and finished mine in 10 minutes. Like I was thinking about it over the weekend, but I was like, I need 5 more. I had my top 5 ready, but I was like, 5 more. And I started getting help. They're like, put this guy, put that guy. And they're like, nah, fuck him. Put this guy, that guy. So
I gave it about that much thought in between this morning show and today because I was busy. So we'll see. Mine should be interesting.
Who wants to go first?
How are we doing this? Are we like all going like by numbers? We all start with
how about we start from the back? How about we start from the back, Rich, and we go all the way to 10, and then we'll do 9, and then we'll work our way up.
Everybody give their number 10. Everybody give their number 9. Everybody, okay. But we're going to start with our number 10s. So everybody got your number 10?
I'm thinking.
Yes.
Charles, let's start with you, and we'll roll through. How's that sound?
All right, so I already put out a list of 5. So this was kind of hard because I had to think about 6 through 10. So 6 through 10, number 10, Roger Staubach, Dallas Cowboys. I think the era of the Cowboys, that was the era where they were America's team. This is what they're still holding on to as Cowboy fans. And I think Staubach was much better than what everybody thinks. I think he's kind of underrated, but he was the reason on offense. They had a lot of great defensive players, but on offense, they had Roger Staubach. I think the passing yards, if you look at the stats before 1990, he's at the top of every list. Won a Super Bowl, so I had Staubach 10.
All right,
I'm not gonna complain about that. No, they were dominant in the 90s. Fair enough.
Yeah. Ken, who's your number 10?
Well, I'm thinking.
Adam?
I went with Roger Staubach, and it's written down right there as number 10. 22,700 yards, 1 Super Bowl MVP. So yeah, me and Rap thought alike on this one. At least this pick anyway.
Okay, Haas, what do you got, man?
Okay,
y'all are all going to be ready to reach through. Y'all are going to be ready to reach through the screen when you hear mine. So
they're going to probably do me first because I went. All 10 of mine are Super Bowl champs. By the way, that's just a quick heads up. Number 10, I'm putting maybe if not one of, or maybe the best quarterback in the league right now. I put Mahomes at number 10. 3-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time MVP, 2-time NFL MVP. He was Offensive Player of the Year once, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time passing touchdown leader, Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. He's won Sammy Bog Trophy, Burt Bell Award. I mean, I would think that was all in college, by the way. But he currently holds 3 records right now. He has a career passing yards per game record at 288.9. He's tied with with most passing touchdowns in a single postseason with 11, and he's currently at 5,614 total yards by a quarterback in a season, in a single season. That was in 22 he held that record, so it's still currently held today. So I had to put, if I'm going to put the best guy right now, and I know people hate him. They don't really hate him. They just hate the Swifties that took over that team. But I had to put Mahomes in there and show him some love because, I know we joke about him. We talk about his sexy wife all the time. We'd rather talk about her than Taylor Swift. But Mahomes, I had to put him at 10.
Jamie, just to fill you in, we're all starting at 10, and we're all doing one round of 10, and then we'll do 9, 8. So Ken and Jamie and obviously Rich, I just wanted to fill you in, Rich, not to cut you off when running the show, but I just wanted to fill Jamie in so he knew where we were.
No, you're good. I was going to do the same thing. Ken, you got your number 10, or do we need to go to Jamie?
I have to stay within my division, unfortunately.
Jim McMahon. Here it comes, Jim McMahon, right?
No, McMahon could have, if not for the injury. He could have tracked that.
McMahon also had arguably the greatest defense of all time.
I mean, the guy does have 2 rings, but no, I'm going to go with and this one, he's still playing, so I'm going to stay current. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers at 10. I'm going to go with AR12. The MVPs kind of, stack up for him. He only has the 1 ring. That's kind of because Green Bay is good at being mediocre. They've been the best of the worst division in football because the North has been terrible for a decade or so. But he never got the supporting cast he probably deserved. So yeah, I'm gonna show the Packers, unfortunately, a little bit of love and go with Aaron Rodgers at 10.
That's true, Ken, and I don't mean to barge in, but you're right because look at like 2012 and those years where he had no running game and he had no defense and he still put up MVP numbers still.
All right. So
Jamie,
hold on.
Good.
Rich, hold on. So maybe you guys can help me and Rich understand this, because it says Aaron Rodgers is 150 for his career on the QBR. Does anyone know how to break the QBR down where we can understand it? Because me and Rich were like, that's a great number, but what does it really mean?
I look at completion percentage. I think completion.
That wasn't the question, Jay.
I think QBR, I think is partially completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio, and maybe one other thing.
Adam, QBR and passer rating are 2 completely different things. Yeah. QBR is something created by ESPN that's on a 100 scale. Passer rating is a whole different thing. Passer rating is the one that you got to have a degree in calculus, physics, and trigonometry to figure the fucking thing out.
That was my fault. I meant passer rating because Aaron Rodgers is over 150 for his career on it, and that's what I was that's what we were talking about. But that was a really good step.
Here's the definition. Total quarterback rating, QBR, is a proprietary statistic created by ESPN in 2011 to grade the performance of quarterbacks. ESPN claims that it created QBR to be a more meaningful alternative to traditional passer rating statistic by incorporating all the quarterback's contributions to winning, including how he impacts the game on passes, rushes, turnovers, and penalties. Since QBR is built from play level, it accounts for the team's level of success or failure. So it's kind of like a plus minus, like in hockey. It's got a little bit of that in there as well. So part of that formula is almost like hockey. It's plus minus, right? You get a win, you get a plus. Your team gets the L, you probably get a minus.
Okay. Well, we were just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's like stuff like PFF, QBRs, and stuff like that. They're interesting stat lines to look at. But with Rodgers, if you look at his QBR being 150, look, he played for a team where the rest of the division was a mess, especially if you look at the Bears. since 2006, we've been a hot mess. And we had a good 2018, but the Detroit Lions have been a hot mess. The Vikings have been, like the Bears, mostly a hot mess with one or two good seasons. They've been a team that's been stuck in mediocrity that whole time. They were winning 9 games a year, winning the division every year. And then those off years, we play another bad division. They get 11 or 12. So I think a lot of Rodgers' QBR gets skewed by that.
Yep. Everybody's done their number 10.
No,
Not
Jimmy.
me. Not me. Yeah, you gotta get.
Go ahead. All you.
Number 10. This one's actually kind of out there in left field. I'm gonna go with my boy John Elway.
Everybody's done their number 10.
Hold on.
John Elway at 10. All right.
Yep.
Well, I went a little off the rails on 10. How about Steve Young?
I was thinking about Steve Young, yeah.
That is actually
33,000.
not going off the. That's actually not going too far off the rails, in my opinion.
Yeah, not at all.
33,000 yards. The guy that replaced the guy.
Good
Not too many
Russell Wilson
quarterbacks have been able to step in and be the guy right after the guy. Aaron Rodgers did that too. But Steve Young had all that grief whenever he was in Tampa Bay and in the USFL, and took the Niners to a Super Bowl, and was an MVP. So I've got Young as my number 10. So moving to number 9. Ken, you want to start our number 9s?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Elway at 9. Not just because I have his mini helmet sitting in my case, but Elway, he ends up with 2 Super Bowls, goes out the way he goes out. He's there. He kept that team relevant even when they shouldn't have been. You think of Denver, you think of Elway. Still to this day. So yeah, I'll go with Elway at 9 for me.
Jamie?
This is gonna be a little bit of a wild card. Phil Simms.
Okay.
I think he gets underlooked a little bit because he beat John Elway, won that ring, and arguably could have won a second one against Buffalo had he not gotten hurt. That went to Mr. Hofstetler, of course. But I think people sleep on the fact that Phil Simms was a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Brav?
I had I'm gonna go old school again, really old school, and say Fran Tarkenton. I think he was the precursor to a lot of the Lamar Jacksons, the running quarterbacks, and all that. He played a very long time. You look at also too, he was a really big passer. You look at the stats before 1990. He's the top guy as far as passing. The only thing really missing from him is a Super Bowl win, but he took his team, I think, to 4 Super Bowls. So I think fantastic. Tarkenton, the Vikings really suffered after he left. So I think Tarkenton, I have him at 9. I think those 2 guys were really the precursors. I think the passing stats, you're going to have them lower when you look at the stats because they didn't throw the ball nearly as much then. But I think Tarkenton at 9.
Yo, Adam.
Oh, me? Oh. I just wanted to say hi to Josh and Leland. They're at my camp right now. They're actually together. I don't know if they're watching it in the dining room or whatever outside, but they're together. They're up to camp having fun. The lake looked super calm and super blue from Josh's picture on Facebook I saw earlier. So that was pretty neat. Anyway, 508 touchdowns, 71,838 yards. I'm going Brett Favre, number 9.
Thomas?
I also got John Elway at number 9 because that dude, if anybody's the heart and soul of the Denver Broncos, it's got to be Elway. He's got 3 rings with him, two as a quarterback, 1 as an executive. Yeah, he beat Brett Favre. That hurt that year, but I was okay with him beating Chris Chandler and the Falcons the following year. And he also got a ring. He was like a co-owner of an AFL team. What was it, the Crush? When they won the Arena Bowl, he got a ring for them too when they had an AFL team back in the day. So he's got some bling in his jewelry box. What else? He was the MVP for 33. He was NFL's MVP in 87. He was Man of the Year in 92. 9 Pro Bowls. He currently don't hold no records, right? Still no records right now, but he's been on the 90s All-Decade team, 100th Anniversary All-Time team. Number retired with the Broncos. I'm pretty sure he got his number retired with Stanford, but he had some numbers too. Like he was one of those, I wouldn't say underrated, but it's like a good quarterback they didn't really talk about a lot until he started winning championships.
And breaking fingers.
Fingers too.
He probably threw the ball harder than I think Jordan Love tries to throw like him now, because Jordan Love tries to break. Oh, you're 5 yards away. Let me zip it in there at 3,000 miles an hour. That was Elway though. Elway was the first to really break fingers.
I want to imagine John Elway throwing a fastball. You think he could throw like Nolan Ryan or something like that?
Like Nolan Ryan was still throwing
the Yankees.
Nolan Ryan was still throwing 83 miles an hour on a little toss out that he was throwing first pitch of the game.
Jeez.
And he was like,
but,
what?
I mean, but Elway got drafted by the Yankees.
Yeah.
He thought, Shannon Sharp said this, I heard him say, like, he thought all the quarterbacks threw as good as John Elway because Elway is what he came in the league with. Elway retired, and he's like, holy crap. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
He threw it, like he said, Elway would know, he would know exactly who was around him catching the football with Elway throwing him the football. He knew it was a deep ball. Hey, if he got way ahead of you, he's got daylight. His ball placement was awesome. Excellent.
All right. I am sending Josh the link. I am not a fan of the whole, I don't know where they are. I'd rather have a sit down. He might be walking around, but I'm not a fan of that. Obviously, you guys don't know that, but I am.
I never would have guessed it.
I told him to take the laptop and the microphone with him because I knew they were going, and I guess he didn't listen. But I'm going to send him the link, and we can all say hi and all that good jazz. Maybe they're at the beach. Maybe they're at the lake. Maybe they're on the water right now. I don't know. But anyway, yes, I'm going against my own hypocrite ways right now.
Number 9. My number 9. I think I'm the only one left. After 6 years up north, throwing for 49,325 yards. Number 1 in your program, number 1 in your heart, Warren Moon.
God, I liked Moon.
I did too.
I did too.
I didn't expect to hear that one. You got that. You did get me with that one. He was awesome, but I didn't expect to hear his name. He's still kind of underrated.
People
I'm
forget.
I'm glad to hear his name.
At that time frame, a 58% completion percentage for his career, 291 TDs for 233 interceptions. Absolutely tremendous. He actually was in the top 5 in the MVP race 3 different times, and the Offensive Player of the Year in 1990. So, yeah, I had to put him in the top 10, and so he's in there at number 9. Josh, what's going on, man?
What?
What's going on?
Oh, I'm live. Hey, I'm in the dark room.
All right, at least you're sitting down. I know you're in the living room. I know that.
What? I'm not in the living room.
Oh, no, you're not. Anyway, Josh is at my camp where I was last week. Very nice. Josh, who do you got at number 9, or is that your list you typed out on YouTube?
That was Leland, the guy. Wait, turn that down. I'm trying to go put your earphones in and listen. Get out of here. I'm live.
That is my nephew's list.
Yeah,
And as everyone just saw, he was right there. I know. I'm getting off script. I know. Anyway, Josh, who you got at number 9, or didn't you write him down?
Funny thing is, I put it off. I was supposed to do it today. Dude, put the F on it. Yep, I was supposed to do it, but I never got around to doing it.
Josh, we can't hear you.
You can't. Hello?
I can't hear him. Can you?
I can barely hear him.
Can't hear him.
He said he put it off.
It's like it faded down.
Right. That was weird.
I figured maybe he was talking and he accidentally hit his volume button going down.
Josh. Josh, we can't hear you.
Hello?
We can't hear you. This is why I don't like bringing people in on my phone. But all right, figure it out, Josh. Come back. All right.
Okay, so we now move to
All right,
number
guys.
8. If you guys are okay, I'll go ahead and do this one first. My number 8, 4 straight Super Bowls. Unfortunately, he never won one. I'm sure Jamie's got him much higher on his list, but Jim Kelly, one of the transcendent quarterbacks of that time frame. And unfortunately, he could not get that Super Bowl ring. But yeah, Jim Kelly, I've got at number 8. Another Southwestern Pennsylvania guy, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Ken, who you got at 8?
I'm gonna go with Mike Vick, because looking at Super Bowls, MVPs, great. Vick changed quarterback play, like Ditka changed tight end play. Before Vick, the running quarterback didn't really exist. You have to wonder if not for his stint away from the game, would he have gotten a Super Bowl? And then when he came back after that, though, he was a great pocket passer. So for me, Vic comes at 8, not because he has all these accolades, but he literally changed the position. Like, there's no RG3, there's no Justin Fields, there's no Lamar Jackson, if not for Michael Vick. No Cam Newton. Vic is the precursor to all that. So for me, Vic is at 8. I know that's going to be a little controversial, but it's not all about Super Bowls and MVPs and great QBRs or passer ratings. It's your impact on the game too, and Vic definitely left the mark.
And also, Ken, Vic changed the video game quarterback as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He changed a lot of things.
No, I can't argue. Jamie, who you got at 8?
Roger Staubach.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Rav and Adam both had him at 10, so it's good to see old Roger Dodger on the list. Haas, who you got, man?
Before I say my number 8, I would love to do 10 great NFL quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl. Now that he said Michael Vick, I was like, I would have wanted to put him on the list, but I did 10 champions instead. So that's something I want to get into down the road. But my number 8, I put Eli Manning. And you're thinking, why would you put Eli in your top 10? Name another guy who beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he got 2 rings before Peyton did. He beat the GOAT 2 different Super Bowls 4 years apart.
It's too bad his teams and his career crapped the bed after that, though.
I didn't care about that, but I was just glad at the time.
The problem.
A Louisiana boy beat the GOAT in a Super Bowl, and he got MVP in both of those. He was Walter Payton Man of the Year, won in 2016, 4-time Pro Bowler, Bart Starr Award winner, Maxwell Award winner, Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner. He had the longest touchdown pass tied. I don't know who he tied it with, but it was 99 yards. I don't remember what year that was. I thought that was like in 2007. I think he had that shit. He once had the record for most passing yards in a single season at over 1,200 in 2011, but that was broken like a year later.
As much as I give Eli for those 2 Super Bowls, I give Steve Spagnuolo credit actually too for his defensive game plan against Brady.
I think that 99-yarder was to Mario Manningham.
Was that in 07 or 06? I think it was like
11.
Oh, 11.
Yeah, I thought it was 09.
07 would have been Tyree.
But so you got Peyton. Adam, who you got at 8?
I got Steve Young. Hall of Famer in 2005, 33,124 yards, 232 touchdowns, 5 Pro Bowls. We can always go back and look. And, if the Chargers didn't beat us on the final play of the game, would have our defense stopped Steve Young, or would have they just rolled us?
Yeah, I feel like
you think we would have made it more competitive?
I agree, Adam, because I agree, Rich, because I think that Chargers team who beat Pittsburgh, I just think they were not a good. I really think the Steelers would have been a better match in that game. The Chargers were just not a good match to play the 49ers, even though they beat your Steelers.
Version 2 of F. Neil O'Donnell.
So it was the Victor Cruz, just to let everyone know.
Victor Cruz, 99-yarder. That's right.
2011.
Then you got your revenge the next year. You beat Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. So, Rav, who you got for your number 8?
So Haas had Eli for number 8. I'm gonna take his brother Peyton Manning. I think you live in a world without Tom Brady. This guy might be at number 1. Peyton Manning was the smartest player I ever saw. I didn't even realize how bad his arm was with all that line and changing and all the changing of the line and all that Omaha until really late in his career. He fooled so many people, passing yards and everything. Didn't do well in the playoffs until the end. Had a little shaky in the playoffs, but like fourth.
He had the exact same thing that Josh Allen had. Couldn't beat Brady in the playoffs, and then he finally did.
But Peyton Manning was never had much on the Colts too. The other thing I do like, kind of like some guys hire, like he had Marvin Harrison, he had James, but those defenses were not good.
Like Clark.
Dallas
Clark.
I'm talking about.
He had a guy at the running back named Marshall Falk.
He had a Hall of Fame head coach the year he won the Super Bowl.
I'm talking about defense. Y'all guys are talking about offensive guys. Defenses were notoriously bad.
He had Cato June on defense.
That's my point. There you go. Thank you.
No,
Sanders, and that was about it.
Players.
What was the guy?
Bob Sanders, Dwight Freeney, and that was it.
Who was the guy that?
He had Joseph Adai at running back too.
Rich? Who was the guy that Roethlisberger
tackled wasn't that bad of a running back though.
Nick, what was it? Was that Alexander?
Say again, Adam.
Who was the guy that Roethlisberger tackled by the shoelace? The game-saving tackle.
Bob Sanders.
So, Rap, back to saying Manning at 8. He gave your boy Ray Lewis a really good idea to watch film nonstop. So he turned his whole game room into the room that Manning had at his house as well. So yeah, that was a good story. Whenever Ray Lewis told that story about Peyton,
they were both the same guy. Ray Lewis on defense, always watching film, always studying. Peyton Manning on offense, the mind manipulations. Both guys were just correct. Peyton Manning was awesome.
That's just why I'm surprised you have him so high up in the list or so low. Like I figured you'd have him higher up. I mean, I've got him higher, but at 8, oof.
Well, Adam, you want to start the number 7s?
7. Is that where we're at? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's usually what comes after 8.
So 64,088 yards, 418 touchdowns, 6 Pro Bowls, and Rookie of the Year at number 7, and he wore number 7.
That's why are you treating Adam like he's Terry Bradshaw that you have to explain it to him like that?
Look, I'm not going through CSA, all right?
Is he really that stupid, or is that just the network? The network makes him out to be stupid, but he isn't. What is that?
He's not the smartest. He's not the smartest knife in the drawer. No,
but Fox always made him out to be. They like the pregames. They always made him out to be stupid.
Nah, he's not. Like I say, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Anyway,
I have Ben Roethlisberger at number 7, in case you guys didn't realize it.
Rachel, so
Big Ben. So Adam's got Ben at number 7. Charles, who you got 7?
I think this guy, if Reggie White isn't the greatest free agent in the history of the NFL, I think it's Drew Brees, number 7. Brees, I actually wasn't as big a fan of his, but you look at all the records, and he's just about right there with everything. It's really hard for me not to take Brees when he's got every record. And he was a guy that gave up on in San Diego. They didn't want him. They didn't think he was good enough, and he goes to New Orleans, wins the Super Bowl, turned the whole thing around, a franchise which still isn't any good without him. Like,
Well,
so
you got to remember, Nick Saban gave up on him in Miami. He went from San Diego to Miami. Saban gave up on him and let him go to New Orleans.
the Ravens passed. They signed
The
Steve
Chargers
McNair.
gave up on him because they had a young Phillip Rivers who they
Phillip
drafted.
Rivers.
That's why.
But they drafted Rivers because they didn't think Breeze was any good. Saban gave up on him. Ravens weren't interested, and the Saints signed him, and the rest is history. I think Breeze. I think what he is. He's a incredible. He was a yardage machine. Drew Brees was an automatic 300 yards for about 10 plus years.
Yeah, you're right. Jamie, who you got 7, man?
Who do I have at 7? Let me think. Let's think about this here. Number 7. I got to think about this really carefully. Let me think. Number 7. I'm gonna go Marino.
Okay.
Yeah, Marino.
Marino at 7. All right.
Yeah.
Marino at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Haas, who you got your 7, man?
Number 7, I got Steve Young. Even though he didn't wear 7, he wore 8, which that was who picked Steve Young at 8?
I did. I didn't even
Okay.
think about his jersey number, but it's whenever I did that.
I mean, yeah,
I didn't think about Roethlisberger's either. So
yeah, he started his career in the USFL, but then went to Tampa Bay in the NFL, but became a franchise player with the 49ers, winning 3 Super Bowls, 1 MVP in the Super Bowl.
And Joe Montana ended up going to Kansas City. That's why.
But, I mean, do I even have to go into more detail? I mean, look at the name. He comes from a family where the damn college was named after his great-great-great-grandfather with his 56 wives.
And he's coaching his daughter now in flag football.
I wonder if he had free tuition at his family's college.
He doesn't need it, brother.
That's a valid question.
He doesn't need it, brother.
Go to trade school, not college, anyway.
They want to. I'm not even getting into religious facts, but they want to shit talk Notre Dame a lot. But like, I don't even give cares for Notre Dame, but BYU. I mean,
that's where all the hot Mormon chicks are at. BYU.
Brigham liked them young.
Jesus.
Wow.
That last comment was Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, in the 6 seconds. Bravery Sports that is not Bravery Sports making that comment.
So, moving along, number 7. I'll do my 7.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to do yours, Ken? Go
I'll
ahead.
do my 7 and then let you finish it out. Why not? My 7 is going to go with the guy that the NFL, when they have to shoot a commercial with the biggest soccer player in the world, the best soccer player in the world, there's only one NFL player they're going to tap to be in a commercial with Lionel Messi. That's because he's still the man with his isotoner gloves. Dan the man, Dan Marino, is at number 7. He is still, when you think of the Miami Dolphins, you still think of Dan the man. And when they needed, hey, we got the biggest entity in the world, Lionel Messi, for a commercial. Who should we have with him? Well, Marino. They didn't go to Aaron. They didn't go to Mahomes. They didn't go to Big Ben. No, they went to Dan the man because he's about the only guy who could probably share the spotlight with Messi. And he was a great
Especially
player.
in Miami.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
I wasn't ready to hear isotoner gloves is the reason why. Damn,
You remember that? I remember he had
I remember it. I wasn't expecting that.
And also, I mean, he opened up the door for advertising for NFL players with those commercials. Like, so I mean, once again, unfortunately, he only got to the one Super Bowl and never won one, but he also broke up the Bears' bid for the perfect season in '85.
He sure did.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing.
That
short
alone,
of a Super Bowl, that's a lot.
That alone should get him number 7. So
Dan Marino was a great cameo actor too. He was an Ace Ventura detective. He was in Little Nicky. What else?
yeah.
He was on the NFL Today for years. They had him on there,
Yeah, but the best one was still Ace Ventura.
Yeah, he kissed
Yeah.
Ray Finkel.
Finkel and Eichhorn.
Well, my number 7, if you'd have said he'd be this high when he was in college, I'd told you were crazy. But guns up to the guy, got a couple of Super Bowls under his belt. That would be Mr. Patrick Mahomes. The trendsetter of current quarterbacks. And, he's not done yet, which is why I don't have him higher. By the time it's all said and done, I'm sure he will be higher. But at this moment, he is my number 7 at Patrick Mahomes.
I feel relieved. I'm not the only one that put him on the top 10, so I'm so relieved.
No. I definitely look at that. Ken, you want to do number? No.
I left Rodgers and Mahomes off my list because they're still active.
Oh, you did retirees. Okay.
Ken, you want to go number 6?
Yeah, sure. Because I'm sitting down here off the Gulf of America, catching that cool breeze at number 6. We've already heard about. I mean, look at Breeze. He's one of 4 in the 50-50 club, right? 2 of them all 3 of them you'll probably hear on my list. We've already heard 1 from that list of the 50-50 club. I mean, that's a small list, 4 quarterbacks ever. So, yeah, Breeze unfortunately only got the 1 ring. Probably deserved more. But once again, he took a team, even when they were terrible, he made them relevant. The Aints, as I like to call them for years, could not get past the Bears. We were their stumbling block for like 3 years straight. We were their Achilles heel. So they broke through and avenged us by beating the Colts in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Drew Brees there. And you don't put up the numbers he did and don't make the top 10. I'm sorry.
No, I think you got a really good point. Jamie, number 6?
Steve Young.
Valid. Very valid. Rav?
Steve Young was one of my favorite players. He didn't make my list, but I used to love to watch Steve Young as a player. Before we had Ravens here, I was a 49ers guy. I used to love because Steve Young was a good left-handed quarterback.
I think Steve Young makes the list more because he was left-handed as well.
Yeah, I like Steve Young. Dan Marino, number 6. My wife kept saying, "Where's Dan Marino on your list?" Every time I brought this up, it was like Dan Marino should be there. Dan Marino, I would say this: the quickest release. I think I dare you to find anybody who got the ball out faster than Marino. Maybe Tom Brady, but that's the only other guy you can say. Marino, you did not have time to hit him because he got the ball out quick. And another one, just the stats were just off the charts. No Super Bowl, but I think unlike Brees, I think he had to carry a much worse team than he did. I think he had some great coaches now. He had Don Shula, Jimmy Johnson, but those defenses again were just terrible in Miami. Running game was just terrible in Miami. So I had him just a hair ahead of Brees.
They would never bring him in anything. He had to make them all.
Yeah.
Adam, who you got?
Who do I got? Number 6. 1-time Super Bowl MVP, 5-time MVP in a regular season, 14 Pro Bowls, 539 touchdowns, 71,940 yards. Peyton Manning.
Okay. Manning at number 6 for Adam. Haas, what do you got?
Okay, so we got 2 Steeler fans in here, 1 Bears fan, 1 Bills fan. Charles, you're Ravens, right?
Yes, sir, Ravens.
Were you ever a Colts fan back in the day? Or you would have been?
Yeah, I'm not that old. Like, my dad was the Colts fan, like 83 and all that, yeah.
Well, this guy would have probably been on everyone's list a little higher, but we're at, what are we at, 6?
6.
I got Johnny U. I got Mr. Golden Arm. I got Johnny Unitas at 6. 1 Super Bowl win. The pre-Super Bowl era, 3-time NFL champion. He was one of them guys where if I ever just want to go way beyond nostalgia and just see black and white highlights of some of the greats, like if I want to go watch Jackie Robinson highlights, DiMaggio highlights, and all those guys from back in the day, Babe Ruth and all them on YouTube, or for basketball, I'd go watch like Bill Russell highlights. For football, if I wasn't going to watch Otto Graham highlights, I was watching Johnny Unitas highlights on YouTube in black and white, and it's such a classic. to watch shit like that. Like, I'm pretty sure I'd have been a big Johnny U guy if I was living to watch him play in living color. Because number one, there was no Saints team in his time. Cowboys would have been a thing. They'd have still sucked. Johnny U was probably the man. Like, he was the Tom Brady of that generation in the 50s and 60s.
All right. Johnny U at number 6.
All right.
Are we frozen?
Was one of those guys that in his era was right there. He was always right at the top of the list. You guys always hear me talk about, were you one of the most dominant players at your position over a period of time? Well, yeah, Elway. And he didn't necessarily have the greatest receivers to throw to either. It's not like he had Jerry Rice or Calvin Johnson or somebody like that to throw to. His receivers were fair to partly cloudy at best. So, I got Elway in there at number 6. Rab, you want to start the number 5s?
Number 5. I got Pat Mahomes, number 5. I think his winning is unmatched. I mean, there's nobody we're going to talk about with who has been to the AFC Championship game. I think it's at 7 or 8 straight years. Every year he started, he's been to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl or won the Super Bowl. I think his winning is just unmatched, period. There's no such thing as a guy that's done what he's done as well in Kansas City. And Kansas City wasn't in great shape when he got there. He really turned the whole thing around. I mean, they had some good teams, but this dominance we're seeing, it's all because of Pat Mahomes, I think. So I got Mahomes at 5.
Jamie, who you got at 5, man?
Joe Montana.
Oh, okay. Ken?
At number 5, I have the second member of the 50-50 All-32 club. These 4 quarterbacks are both the only 4 quarterbacks. This is the second of the 4 that will be as part of the All-32. Now, Aaron Rodgers can join the All-32 this year if he beats the Packers. And that's going to be Brett Favre. He's one of 4 quarterbacks to be in the All-32. Also that 50-50, which is like, 50,000 yards, 500 touchdowns. That's the 50-50, right? Something like crazy number like that. Only 4 quarterbacks have hit that pinnacle. That's my second on that list, and that's Favre. And once again, probably should have had more Super Bowls than what he had. Even when he went to Minnesota, took a Minnesota team to the NFC Championship. But he's in that rare air, and that's why he's in at number 5. He may not have a lot of the other accolades that some other guys have, but you're one of 4 ever in that All-32 club and in that 50-50. You're on the list. So I got Brett Favre. Unfortunately, another Green Bay friggin' Packer.
I was gonna say, where's your co-host at? Where's your co-host tonight? He'd be loving you right now.
I know.
My number 5, 4 Super Bowl wins in 6 years, 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Might not have been the smartest guy in the world off the field, but on the field, he called his own plays. Yeah, Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw. Find me somebody that did all that, and I'll go ahead and give you some more with it. Terry Bradshaw, far and away, helped put the Steelers on the map. And, so I've got him at number 5. Haas stepped out for a second, so
let me ask a.
Oh, you're there? Yeah. Where's your camera at, man?
Well, wait until it's my turn.
Well, let me ask a question about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, why you say he's not the smartest guy off the field? What do you mean?
Well, he wasn't really the most book smart guy. I mean, you hear him in interviews and that kind of stuff. When they talk about football, he can talk football all day long. But if you hear him in interviews and things like that about other things that aren't necessarily football related, and then there's also been, of course, some really legendary stories about, how he wasn't necessarily the sharpest knife in the drawer. So,
you ever watch his TV show?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I do, but I watch it for one reason and one reason only.
his daughter.
Must be a woman.
Oh.
Absolutely, that's the only reason Jamie watches these things.
Huh?
So Haas, who you got at 5, man? Oh, jeez.
That's my number 5. My hero, Brett Favre.
Hey, we agreed. Look at that.
Look, I've noticed football as a kid, like growing up in the Saints family. Yeah, we had Bobby Hebert when I started watching the Saints, and he's nowhere near this top 10 list. But there was one guy that just had me glued where I would watch it religiously. That guy was Brett Favre, especially when I've learned his background. Oh, he's a Southern Mississippi guy. He's from Gulfport, which is like an hour from New Orleans. So he may not be from the boot, but he's got a little
bit of
Nolans in him.
Mississippi.
He got a little Nolans in him. He grew up a Saints fan. He grew up watching Arch Manning and all them playing in the old Sugar Bowl stadium. And he played his only Super Bowl he won it at his home away from home. He won his only Super Bowl in the Dome when they beat Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots.
Hey, Rich, can I add something up real quick about Favre? Number one, his favorite receivers was Brian Urlacher. And also, he's the originator of the following.
I thought his favorite receiver was Donald Driver.
Jamie, you just talked over it. Be quiet for a second and listen.
I caught it. That wasn't right.
A double doink.
I don't think it's accurate either, but I
intercepted at the same time. Mary Pat says it's true. That is the original double doink.
Oh, because I was gonna say Brett Favre's favorite receiver was probably Reggie White or probably Desmond Howard.
Right. No, but it just seemed like all his interceptions with the Bears, like it was Urlacher who caught him. That's why I would say it.
Like, I remember, like,
it's like how Josh Allen's favorite receiver was Sauce Gardner for a little bit.
I loved him so much. It's like the Packers was kind of like my first team outside of the Saints. Like, I was a big Packers fan until Brett Favre jumped to the goddamn Jets. And I still gave him a little shot with Aaron Rodgers, but it wasn't the same anymore. I was just mainly a Brett Favre guy, even though I did have a lot of Packers shit in my room as an 8-year-old outside of Saints or LSU. But Brett was the guy that inspired me to want to play football, watch it religiously. It was Brett. That was the guy who really brought it into me.
Adam, who you got at 5, man?
I was going to say, I thought you would have said Sterling Sharp for Favre. It's one of Favre's favorite receivers, but that's just me. Anyway, I have a 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Fame 2006, one Super Bowl MVP, 165 touchdowns, 32,942 yards. Neil O'Donnell should have been the MVP of one of those Super Bowls he got, but Troy Aikman.
Troy boy. Okay.
Again, I see you down there shaking your head like crazy.
I was wondering if anybody was going to say Troy Aikman. I was wondering if anybody was going to say, because the stats weren't there, but he won a lot of football games. Go ahead.
Look, I would take Jay Cutler over Troy Aikman. I would take Dak Prescott over Troy Aikman. I would take
Jay Cutler, that narcissistic, you know what? That couldn't.
Yes, I would. Because here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing about like Cutler and Romo. Both of them have better career numbers than a guy already on my list, Dan Marino, and a guy you just mentioned. Yet neither of those two are on this list, and for probably some pretty good reasons. Aikman to me is the most overrated, self-gratifying of himself guy you've ever met. He wasn't that good, but he walks around like he was God's gift to the quarterback. No, dude, you had Emmitt Smith. You had all these studs around you. That's why Patrick Mahomes isn't on my list. When he got to Kansas City, he had a team of studs around him. And all he had to do was show up and be decent. And that's all. And Aikman was the same way. Aikman, it was like Kurt Warner with the greatest show on turf. Had enough time. He could do his income taxes, do his laundry, fold the clothes, order a pizza, and then call into his buddies what bar he was going to after the game. And Aikman was just, no, I'm sorry. Aikman does not even come sniff the top 10 in my list for a reason.
Okay. Not as good as Cutler doesn't work for me, bro. I'm sorry. That's That's
But
blasphemous, right?
But I
If you
throw up
get
Cutler.
to the marriage with Kristen Cavallari, you got problems.
But look, I throw up Cutler because Cutler and Romo, their numbers are relatively the same, even though Cutler's got more playoff wins than Romo, right? And both of them are better numbers than Aikman. That should tell you something.
Doesn't tell me anything. Cutler didn't win nothing. He didn't get
Aikman happened to be on good teams that won Super Bowls, but not because of Aikman.
Right.
Actually,
Aikman,
Troy Aikman was 1-15 in his rookie year. So
yeah, but if Aikman didn't have the greatest offensive line of all time, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Aikman was. And let's be honest, that was the greatest offensive line to ever walk, which is why Emmitt Smith is also the most overrated running back of all time.
Right.
Okay, so then why is Joe Montana on the list?
I put Joe Montana.
Who said Montana? Like you can or he had great players around him. Who had better players around him than Joe Montana?
Or did Joe Montana make those players? Besides Jerry Rice.
Who did Montana have around him? No. Montana played 1 year with Rice.
He had Dwight Clark.
Montana?
He had Dwight Clark. Yes. He had Dwight Clark, Freddie Washington. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He played 2 years with Rice.
He had like 4 or 5 years, I think, with Jerry Rice.
I thought it was like 5 years, but I was wrong.
You had Dwight Clark and Fred Washington and Earl Cooper. Yeah, right.
You
talking about somebody that
are you really leaving out Ronnie Lott?
That was the West Coast offense. Is you could argue is the greatest offensive thing that ever happened in the NFL. He had the greatest
coach Stafford on this list before Troy
West Coast
Aikman.
offense, yeah.
Matt Stafford is more deserving than Troy Aikman. He made Hall of Famers.
Matthew Stafford?
He just played for a really bad team in Detroit.
Good God.
I just don't like Aikman.
Wait, you said Matthew Stafford made Hall of Famers?
Megatron. He made Megatron.
He got
to throw the ball up.
He also got a Hall of Fame.
I guess it's a disagreement.
Look, I'm just saying though, like Aikman's not all that, but Aikman thinks he was, but like Stafford's better. Stafford. I'd put Stafford on before Aikman. I'd put Cutler on. I'd put Romo on. There are a lot of guys I would put on because their career numbers minus the 3 Super Bowls that he happened to get handed are better.
Stop saying Cutler. We're gonna have 31 people watching, and they're all gonna turn it off.
But
that's say that one more time.
But that's there for emphasis because
stop saying that.
The fact is, if you look at the career numbers, they're better than Aikman.
Yeah, I don't know if Rich likes this or not because Rich is one of the biggest Dallas haters in the world. So is Rich loving it?
I might be the biggest. I'm probably the biggest.
Oh no, I'll challenge you on that one.
Jay Cutler's not a guy that you would walk up to a bar and have a beer with, okay?
Fuck,
I have.
He was a narcissist.
I would.
You know what?
Hey Jamie, funny because I have.
I would walk up.
I
would go up to Jay Cutler and have a beer with him. I sure.
Did you watch his TV show? He's a miserable you know what.
Mike Shanahan showed Cutler the door in the first place because he was sick of him. That's why he even had Cutler there. You're gonna say he's.
It wasn't Shanahan. Who was the head coach when they made that trade?
I'm sorry, Josh McDaniel. You're right.
Yeah, Josh. No, it's not Josh McDaniel. You got to say his name right. Josh, I kill franchises, McDaniels. He's killed both franchises he went to.
So
that's good. That's good. I kill franchises. I like that.
Okay.
But Aikman shouldn't even be sniffing a top 20 list.
Josh, I got Tom Brady in the Hall of Fame list there.
Jay Cutler should not be on anybody's top 20.
All right. That's enough.
So moving to number 4.
Yeah.
Wait, did everyone do their
Jamie.
fives? Wait, did everyone finish their 5?
Yeah.
Number 4.
Everybody did 5.
I did 5. So
4.
I didn't know I was last.
Huh?
Number
Save
4,
the best for last, right?
I guess. Jamie 4.
Number 4, Jim Kelly.
Because he didn't win 4.
But he made it to 4 straight.
Right, and he's another guy.
Ken,
you know how you said Michael Vick changed the way the quarterback position was played. Like I said, Jim Kelly changed the way it was played too, with the K gun going fast, not giving defenses time to substitute.
Well, look, the only reason he never won a
you know what the problem was in the Super Bowls? It was their no huddle offense would be off the field because you had the Giants run. You had the Giants. You had Washington with the hog mollies, and then you had Emmitt Smith. The way to beat that offense was to just run it down Buffalo's throats.
Well,
and
the real reason, look, we all know, those of us who are old enough, all know the real reason why the Bills didn't win any of those Super Bowls.
Because
we watched the X-Files. We know the Marlboro Man, the cigarette smoking man on the X-Files said as long as he lived, they will never win a Super Bowl. That's the reason why the Bills never won. Come on, you had to watch.
You also agree it was game plan by the other teams, right? The other teams would just keep their no-huddle offense off the field by running it down their throats.
Jamie, I take it you didn't watch the X-Files at all because you totally missed that reference, man.
No, I'm just saying what the real reason why they didn't win the game plan.
Jamie's too young to know what the X-Files
is. The rest, I saw you and Rich go, yeah, I remember that episode.
I'm too young. Right, but Rich, that my dad would tell me all the time. He was a Bills fan. If you couldn't stop that offense, you just had to run it down their throats and keep them off the field, and that's what every team did against them in the Super Bowl.
I got no problem with Kelly on the list. I got no problem with Kelly. I didn't have him, but I got no problem with it.
So you're telling
me a little lower, but yeah,
the whole AFC couldn't figure it out for a whole year, but all it took was the NFC 4 times in a row to stop.
Nobody in the AFC had the running game that those teams had, dude. Nobody in the AFC had that kind of running game.
Well, yeah, because the NFC, like I said, Adam, they had the offensive. They all had the Giants, like I said. Bill Belichick said, we're going to run it down their throats. They had the ball for 40 minutes, and the Bills, it still came down to a field goal. Washington had the Hogs, so they did the exact same thing.
And he mentioned
were up 13-6 at the half against Washington, but then when they fumbled the ball, Emmitt Smith took over the game and had a drive that took over 8 minutes to give them a 20-13 lead.
And he mentioned field goal. Had Scott Norwood had not shanked that field goal, we're all talking different about Jim Kelly.
But guess
That's
what?
The one play. He doesn't shank that. They were all talking different about.
Right, but guess what? Here's another thing, Charles, that'll blow your mind. If the Giants don't maintain the ball for 40 minutes and Buffalo just keeps scoring at will like they did in the Super Bowl, it doesn't come down to Norwood making that kick at all.
Look, I hate to tell you this, Bills fans, but William B. Davis, who played the cigarette smoking man on the X-Files, is 87 and still alive. So you're not winning the Super Bowl anytime soon because the cigarette smoking man still lives.
Conspiracy theory. That's not fact-based at all.
If Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl this year, he will probably pass away.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that was funny, Marcus. I'll give you that.
Because I'm still riding. This is my last fucking chance for Josh Allen. He better win it this year. The Chiefs are not as relevant as they are. This is their fucking year to win it.
Yeah,
get to it.
I think it's going to be the Bills and the Eagles in the Tush Push Bowl. That's what they're going to call it.
Well, I got
because both teams can run that.
Well, AFC, it's out of the Bills or the Chiefs. The NFC's out of the Eagles or the Lions. That's my preseason prediction right there.
Should I send a thing to ESPN or something if the Bills and the Eagles will call it the Tush Push Bowl?
No, but I just want to see who'll get Moss this upcoming season.
All right, where are we at?
Who you got it for, buddy?
Yeah, I'm still on the Aikman thing. I'm gonna get off of that. Johnny U. Haas mentioned Johnny U as a player, and I think like he made a great reference to guys back in the day, like who were just different. Wilt Chamberlain, he was a guy who threw the ball deep when nobody else did. And I think his passing stats would have been more had it been different and the league had been different. But Johnny U and also too had he beaten one in Super Bowl III, different conversation about him, but I had him at number 4.
Play defense against it, so the only way to
Adam
stop it was
number 4. Let's see, 1989 Hall of Fame introduction, 27,989 yards, 212 touchdowns, 4 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw.
There you go. Marcus, what do you got, man?
So I got Peyton Manning at number 4. Who,
Okay.
I mean, I ain't gonna argue with Tennessee fans. I mean, if you he may be the greatest quarterback that ever played at the University of Tennessee. No disrespect to like a Pat Ryan or a Casey Clausen or anybody like that, but I have seen grown men argue over if Peyton Manning was the greatest quarterback to come out of our state, where people said Terry Bradshaw or even said Doug Williams. It's usually out of those 3. I've seen grown men fight and argue about that if they don't agree it's Peyton Manning. But Peyton, you got to give him his flowers. I mean, he was the first Manning to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, he had to play our Saints the year we beat them in that Super Bowl, and people were against us, but they had a lot of people that wanted it to happen. He's won 2 Super Bowls overall, but with 2 different teams. He also won one as a Bronco. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, he just got inducted not long ago. He went in the Hall of Fame what, last year or the year before?
23, I think.
I know he's
No, it was 21, wasn't it?
I don't remember what year he fucking went. I know it wasn't that long ago.
Well, I know it wasn't that long ago.
It was in the 2021. It was the same weekend as Palomalu and Cowher getting inducted.
Yeah,
they were the following
That's
year.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
I don't know if it was not. He might have been 2019 then.
No,
I think 19 and 20 they put together because of COVID.
He went in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 2019. He went in the Indiana Hall of Fame in 2020. Colorado in 2018, Tennessee in 2016. Unless they got it at the top, I was trying to find that there, but you know his numbers. You know he's got his jersey retired at his high school in New Orleans, which he shared. He got his number retired at Newman. He got his number retired at Tennessee. He got his number retired with the Colts, and the Broncos too. So he got his number retired at 2 NFL teams. I don't know if anybody else got their jersey retired at more than one team in the NFL. But if not, Peyton is that guy.
Yeah, Reggie White.
Oh, as a Packer and a
Eagle.
Who did he go in the Hall of Fame with? The Packers, or he's not in the Hall of Fame yet?
Who cares?
No, Reggie? Yeah, Reggie's been in the Hall of Fame for years.
Yeah, but did he go as a Packer or as a Colt? Because,
I think he went as a Packer.
Because
I think he was the Packer.
Because we were talking about like Jared Allen, which I think he might go in as a Viking, not as a Bear or a Chief.
Oh, he'll go as a Viking.
He went in 2006.
Who?
Reggie White.
Oh.
Yeah, Sterling Sharp's going in as a Packer. That's the only team he played for. Antonio Gates going in as a Charger. Eric Allen will probably go in as an Eagle. He definitely ain't going in as a Saint. But Jared Allen, I figure, was going in as a Viking. But yeah, I was wondering where Reggie White went in as. I figured he went in as a Packer because he won the Super Bowl with them, not the Eagles. But no, I got Peyton. And yeah, I figured if he went in the Hall of Fame as a Colt. But I mean, too bad they couldn't go in as both. But I figured he was the number 1 overall. What was it, 95? He was the number 1 overall pick for the Colts. It was 95. Yep. He was the number 1 overall pick. And then
Marshall Faulk.
96. It might have been 96.
It was
somewhere around there.
Marshall Faulk was number 2 in 94.
Okay.
Number 1 in 1996 was Keyshawn Johnson.
Well, then it was 95. But I got Peyton Manning at 4.
No, Peyton Manning was number 1 in 98.
No, he has Peyton Manning number 4 on his list, Jamie, is what he's saying.
Right, but you said 95. He was number 1 in 1998.
98.
Ryan Lee and Ryan Queef went number 2.
Ryan Leaf was second, right?
Ryan Queef, I call him.
Caleb Williams was second. Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan Leaf.
Charles, we're going to be friends again.
Not Ryan Leaf.
Oh, gosh.
My number 4.
We're going to be friends because at 4, I have Johnny U as well, as you did.
So do I.
Johnny U. Okay. Yep. And look, at Johnny U for me is a little different. I'm going to homer out on Johnny U It was my dad's favorite player. The first jersey I ever wore that wasn't a Bears jersey was an old school Baltimore Colts Johnny Unitas jersey. My dad, who played with an NFL quarterback, you may have heard of by the last name of Hart. They played together in high school, and yet his favorite quarterback was still Johnny U. Johnny U is my only real old school guy on my list, and for a reason. And you know, it's weird now to see him showing up to games not in Baltimore, still as a Colt, but he's Baltimore to me always. Like, you know, I know the Ravens try, but no, Johnny U. So Charles, we're friends again. I hope he's at number 4 for me.
19 actually is going to be retired by the Ravens because of Johnny Unitas. It's never been worn except for the first year, so
I don't think that the Cleveland Browns, who became the Baltimore Ravens, should get that honor, but that's just me.
Well, and another Pittsburgh area, southwestern Pennsylvania guy.
Wait a minute. The Browns did not become the Ravens. The Ravens were a new expansion team.
No.
In '99.
No,
Adam,
the Browns
you
became.
don't know this. You don't know about this. In 1995, they were the Cleveland. Long before they were the Cleveland Browns, then they moved to Baltimore in 1996.
Yeah. The Baltimore Ravens are the original Cleveland Browns
in '99.
Right.
Yep. Their owner moved them to Baltimore.
Yes, they are, Adam. What are you talking about?
That was a new franchise.
No,
because you don't associate.
Adam's almost right.
When Art Modell moved the team, he gave Cleveland the ability to hang on to all their records and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But the team changed from the Browns to the Ravens. Yep. And then in 1999, a new Browns franchise was created.
That's what I said, Rich. I said that.
So,
that's
I mean,
that's true.
It is true.
Yeah, but in a way, he's right because it's almost expansion-like.
But it wasn't. When they moved from Cleveland to Baltimore, they brought the coaching staff, the players, and all the apparatus with them.
They fired everybody. They did not. The only guy I think that stayed from Cleveland was Ozzie Newsome.
But they still brought their infrastructure and their players with them. There was no expansion draft for the Baltimore Ravens.
There was no expansion draft, but there was no infrastructure. They had 20 players and they had Ozzie Newsome.
Can we move? This is a production. Can we move on to number 3?
This is more diabolical than talking about the Oilers moving to Tennessee.
Yeah, because
number 3, Rav, what do you got?
Let us be in a freaking goober sense.
Here's a guy we were just talking about Baltimore history. Y'all don't know how much this guy was hated in Baltimore, John Elway. John Elway, I thought, refused to actually play for the Colts, which is why he wound up in Denver. If you talk to like an older school fan in Baltimore, they'll use F Elway every time they say it, even nowadays, because they hate it. Oh, absolutely. Because had he actually went to the Colts, they might have stayed in Baltimore. They had a good team. So that is a whole nother thing. But Elway, I think, everything you're not supposed to do. He was an athlete, phenomenal athlete, threw the ball across his body, threw the ball deep downfield, went to the playoffs just about every year automatically, led the league AFC in passing. I think the only reason he's not higher is because he lost so many Super Bowls earlier in his career. But I thought Elway was pretty much in a class by himself. The only time when he was playing, the only guy I thought better than he was when he was playing was Joe Montana. I mean, so
I'm going to bring that up to one of my coworkers. He's one of the biggest Ravens fans I ever met. I'm going to bring that up like, did y'all really hate John Elway back then? I can't wait to hear about that tomorrow.
Jamie, give us your 3, buddy. Jamie, give us your 3. Yep.
Number three. Let me think here. Number 3. Let's see. What are we?
Kyle Orton.
No. Let's see.
Cal Orton, that's great.
That is great. Number 3. Number 3, I'm gonna say Big Ben.
Okay. All right.
Can I go last
Ken,
for this one?
what do you got?
Yeah, Big Ben, by the way, is not on my list at all, FYI. Number 3,
Of
ironically,
course,
is the
because you
third
got
guy.
Jay Cutler on yours.
Well, no, he's not. Jay Cutler's not on my list either.
No, Jay Cutler, not Jay Cutler. That's what I call him.
I would have Ben. I would have Big Ben over Troy Aikman. Anywho, I digress. Number 3, coming at number 3 is the third of the 4 all 32 50-50 club. Only 4 quarterbacks remember in this club. The third member of that club is at number 3, and that would be Mr. Peyton Manning, the man with the biggest forehead in football that you can see probably. You can probably see from the moon, and I swear every year it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. But no, Peyton, I mean, didn't get the luck, but won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams. That's kind of rare too. He did get smoked in a Super Bowl. I remember he did get smoked. Was it the Seahawks smoked them? They rolled the Denver that year. But yeah, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks to play the game. Probably the only marketable quarterback of that era as well, in terms of marketing and everything else, and he's still going strong. So Peyton's at number 3 for me.
Cool. My number 3 is Marino. No quarterback did more with less than Marino. We talked about earlier. No running game, no defense. Receivers that were average at absolute best. That he made into really good receivers. So, I had to put Marino up there at number 3 simply because of what he did and the numbers he put up with the talent he had around him. Marcus wants to go last on this round, so Adam, go ahead.
I have Joe Montana. Hard to beat. Hard to 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2 MVPs in regular season, 2000 Hall of Fame induction. It's hard to beat that number. 40,551 yards.
Gotcha. All right, Marcus.
All right, here comes the bias in me. Number 3, I'm gonna say another hero, not just for me, but for this whole state. I got Drew Brees at number 3, and I want to go back before he came down here. I want to go down, like, he started as a Charger, but if I had to compare him to like a current WWE superstar right now, I know I'm bringing wrestling up. He kind of reminded me of what LA Knight is today when he went to the Chargers in 01. He had all the talent he had, but he just did not have the team and the potential to get him where he needed to be in New Orleans. When he broke his arm and then they cut him from the team, and then he was a free agent, and then New Orleans was already in the dust and shit with Hurricane Katrina and whatnot, which is coming at 20 years this year. When 06 came, we had the number 1 pick, got Reggie Bush. They needed a quarterback. They needed a coach. They called Sean Payton. Drew Brees was up. We gave him that chance. We welcomed him with open arms. Some people did not know who this guy was. I knew who he was. I said, I like this. I'm going to give him
like
a shot.
Creed.
Like Creed. Because you had a guy who took fucking a shit team like Purdue, brought them to their first conference championship in like fucking decades, brought them to the Rose Bowl, even though they did not win the Rose Bowl. Because I read his book. They lost to Wisconsin that year. Not Wisconsin. They lost to fucking no, they beat Wisconsin to get to the Rose Bowl. Forgot who they fucking lost to in that Rose Bowl game. But he brought the city from the ashes with what Steve Gleason did with the fucking block punt. But
Right.
he like helped rise it from the ashes. Like
Absolutely right.
He put that
Absolutely
city
right.
on his back.
He
Absolutely
carried that
right.
city on his back. He loves the city. He brought them to their first and only Super Bowl. Well, Garrett Hartley kicked them to the Super Bowl, but Brees was a big part of them getting there. He was the MVP. There should have been 2 Super Bowl appearances. We were robbed. We should have got Brady and Brees, and instead we got fucking Jared Goff and Brady. But
didn't Brees, the minute he get there, rebuild for Katrina Holmes?
He was like a big part of rebuilding New Orleans. He helped, like, he was a part of like the food banks that were like they were feeding the homeless and the meal ministry. He was a part of that. He helped build city. He helped build houses. He owns freaking walk-ons in New Orleans now. Like he's a big they gave him a key to the city. Like, he's a big part of the city, even though he lives like in LA now. He'll always be like, I say, because this guy needs to be the fucking general manager of the Saints. We need to get rid of fucking Mickey Loomis. We need somebody that loves this team more than anybody. Drew Brees, I think, needs to be the GM of the Saints now.
And here's one thing real quick about Brees. I compare him to Michael Jordan in this way. Take away the years of Michael Jordan had at the Bulls, and it's a complete train wreck. Take away the years of Drew Brees of the Saints. Just if you imagine you didn't have that, what would you have with the Saints? Drew Brees, yeah, you're right. He turned the whole thing around. And,
they wouldn't have nobody.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of good history there that doesn't include Drew Brees.
And a lot of people don't give him a credit because, he only had one championship. Look at all the records he broke. Look at all the records he still currently
50-50
holds.
club, 50-50 in all 32 in the 32. He's one of 4 quarterbacks ever in the history of the league to be in that club. He deserves it. He deserves to be on this list.
Look, I was lucky enough in 2011, whatever the record was, I think it was highest complete. Like, he was trying to get to the highest completeness percentage in a season. Well, in 2011, he passed up Dan Marino. I was at that game against the Atlanta Falcons. He threw that 8-yard touchdown pass to Darren Sproles, and that's what broke the record. And I was there in person. That was a great moment. But we'll never forget.
Then he beat Marino's yardage record like a week later, right?
Yeah. But it was in 2018 when he passed up Peyton Manning for highest completion percentage. He threw that long-ass touchdown pass. I don't remember which fucking receiver caught it, but we watched it at Walk-Ons in Lake Charles. I had my Drew Brees jersey on. I had my Saints shit on. It was a Monday night game against the Washington Redskins at the time. Hope I don't get in trouble saying that.
That's what they were called. You're allowed to say that because they were called that at the time.
You can call them the Redskins as long as you want. HTTR, my friend. HTTR.
That place fucking erupted. We knew it was going to happen. When he threw that pass and he passed up Peyton Manning as the highest completion percentage and most touchdown passes, that place fucking erupted. Like, they went back to the Super Bowl. Like, it was unreal, everything he's done for not just that franchise, but for the city, for the state. Drew Brees, calling it now. He's eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2026. He's going in next year in his first year.
He'll be a first ballot. He's a first ballot all day.
He's going in next year. His first year of eligibility, he will go in. And if he goes in, I'm going to find my way to Canton, Ohio for that.
I will find my way with you, Marcus. Buy me a ticket.
If you come, I'm good. I can cry on your shoulder when he gives his speech.
Like I said, I've been there for one, and I want to go back for another one. That was a fun day, guys.
And then we can haul ass to Pittsburgh and go watch Paul Skeens throw a no-hitter if we're lucky.
If he still plays for Pittsburgh.
Oh,
but I'm sorry. Right. I'm sorry I dragged up. But can I start number? Oh, I don't care if I start number 2 because
go ahead, do number 2 while you're at it.
Well, Adam gave it away. I figured I was going to be the first to bring him up. My number 2 is Joe Montana, not Joe Montana. Joe Montana. Maybe one of the greatest 4-time Super Bowl champ, 3-time MVP. I agree. He was the one who built that team to make him great. Steve Young, Joe Montana. I mean, I wish I could have watched him play at Notre Dame, but that was way before my time. I mean, I was lucky to watch him in his last years with the 49ers. Before he went to Kansas City, because the only memory I have of him left is playing as a Kansas City Chief. But I've heard great stories. I had great stories as a 49er. My dad that's why my dad was a fucking the Chiefs bandwagon, because of Joe Montana. My dad was so big on Montana growing up. That was my dad's all-time favorite quarterback.
Well, there you go, Mark. My son, Drew Brees, number 2 on his list.
Yeah, but I remember when my dad got this fucking big-ass Kansas City Chief jacket for Christmas in '94, and I'm like, why is he wearing a Chiefs jacket? But now thinking back 30 years ago, he was a fucking big Joe Montana fan. That's why he got that Chiefs jacket for Christmas in '94. Gotcha. And then that went to waste because he left the Chiefs after that. Well, that was kind of a waste. I don't know how much ski jackets cost in '94 back then. Today they'd probably be like almost $200. Maybe in '94 it was maybe
probably
like
it was probably the badass starter pullover.
it looked like something. It looked like them jackets the NWA wore with the Raiders back in the day. What's the
Those were
jacket?
about $200 back in the day.
Those were
Probably
starter
the
jackets,
starter
yeah.
pullover, dude.
It was
Probably
it
the
was-
starter pullover.
They
It
were
was a
starter.
starter jacket, but it looked like a jacket you would wear to go skiing because it was so thick.
They were
and
about
so
$200
Right.
back in the day. They were expensive back then too.
So they're
Right.
basically the same fucking price today, 30-something
Yeah.
years later. I thought maybe in '94 they'd have been like $30. $30 was
No.
fucking $200 back
If you
in
were in
94.
Korea, maybe.
Oh, yeah. We don't talk about Korea in America.
All right, Adam, number 2.
Well, here goes your shocker because it's my list. I have Tom Brady as number 2.
Damn. Okay. Are you the first one to say him?
All right,
besides-
Ryan.
Yeah, he is.
I knew he was going to say it. I knew he was going to say it.
Moving along. All right,
Joe Montana, number 2. There's not much difference on my list between 1 and 2, except the resume is longer for number 1. Joe Montana, 4 Super Bowl wins. I think he had the greatest offense of all time developed, and I think he's the most accurate passer I think in the NFL history. Watch a Joe Montana game and see the ball hit the ground or he threw it out of bed. Never happened. Joe Montana, number 2.
I'm glad I was the absolute shocker on this one.
Let me see. Number two. Peyton Manning.
All righty. Ken?
Hey, go back. Good to see you. We're not talking about that yet. But anyways, my number 2 shocker, probably the most famous touchdown pass ever thrown in a Super Bowl, right? Montana to Clark. I mean, it's the only one that gets drawn on helmets when they used to sign him. That before Clark passed
NFC
away.
Championship, not Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was the NFC Championship against Dallas.
NFC
Yeah, that was the
Championship.
NFC Championship. They still would draw that play out on helmets when he signed Clark Wood. I mean, but it's Montana. Montana, I think he's the first quarterback to be of that pedigree and be as marketable as he was, bring people to the NFL. I mean, he's hard to beat. Well, he's going to be beaten. Obviously, he's number 2. But Montana, number 2 all day.
I loved it when Montana called his wife from the
The
sideline.
bench. Yes.
Yeah.
Because he figured out the hack of the old phones.
You hit 9. You hit
Yeah.
9 to call
Yeah.
out, and you just tried it. That was a funny
He's
story.
sitting on the bench calling his wife at home. Hey, how you doing, hon? Like, aren't you supposed to be playing a game? Joe
Yeah,
Cool,
the phones
baby.
call out. I never knew that. These phones call out. I can call you from every game now.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Mr. Fivehead, Peyton Manning. Probably one of the smartest quarterbacks in the history of the game. Just watch how he played it. And the offensive coordinators and head coaches were calling the plays, but there's no question about it. He was able to read the defenses and change the play if he needed to, and had the whole offense clicking with him. Whether it was Indy or Denver, when it comes to the smarts, the intelligence of the offensive game of football, it's really tough to not have Peyton at the top of the list, and his results, came from it. So, Marcus, who you got at 2?
I started to. I said Joe
started to.
Montana.
That's right, you started 2. All right,
Let
now
me-
we get to number 1. All right, Adam, it's your show, so go ahead and start with number 1.
Well, Josh said I kind of need to explain myself. So, okay, so the reason I watched football growing up was because of number 13 in Miami. So that is my number 1 on my list because he really got me into the game, got me into watching everything, obviously being a Panther. So Marino got me into really watching football, so that's my number 1. I mean, I have his jersey signed. I have his Pitt jersey, his Dolphins jersey. Obviously, we went over the starting lineup figures last weekend or last week, whatever. So yeah, Dan Marino is my number one quarterback. I know he never won. I do think he could have went to Minnesota that 1 year to finish his career. He would have had a guy by the name of Randy Moss and Chris Carter to throw to. I think it would have been a lot of fun to watch. But he said, "I'm done, and I'm just going to stay in Miami." Now I don't know. So that's why he's number one, and Tom Brady will always be number two.
Look, and to back him up, though, I mean, think about in Miami, where you have arguably the biggest star athlete on the planet. There's only one guy that matches up with him, and that is Dan the Man. Mm-hmm. I said it when I put him on the list. Messi is probably, him or Ronaldo. There's an argument between the soccer people on that, but you're talking either number one or number two worldwide in recognition, and the only person the NFL could put up with him in a commercial or any kind of anything is Marino. So that might help you a little bit there.
Well, I just went off my own list because that's what this is tonight.
Yeah.
Rav, number one. If you say Lamar, we're driving to Baltimore.
We're not going to say Lamar Jackson. He's got to win a Super Bowl first before you're the greatest of all time. You can't say Lamar. Just got a little note here with number one. Hold on, I'm pulling it up now. So we got, where is it? All of a sudden,
Elvis Gerback.
Elvis Gerback, number one.
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, number one. But Tom Brady, obviously, I think, was the greatest substitution ever to come in. Drew Brees never was supposed to play. Sixth-round pick. I don't think it's close. 649 touchdowns.
Bledsoe.
No, Drew Bledsoe. He came in for Drew Bledsoe. 649 touchdowns. I think 35 playoff wins. The numbers I just be all day. I think it's almost impossible not to take Brady number one if you're talking about the greatest player of all. And I think he's the second greatest player of all time next to Jerry Rice. No question, Tom Brady.
Jamie?
Number one, Eli Manning.
What?
Everyone's like, what? Wait,
What?
is Brady even
I
on
knew
the
he
list
was
at
going
all?
to do it. I knew he
I
was
saw
going to do
Josh
it.
Allen coming.
I mean,
knew
Jamie, is Brady not on your list at all? I don't think I heard you say his name at all tonight.
I did not.
He ain't
Wow.
going to say it. All right. He ain't going to say it. I knew he was going to say it.
All right, Marcus, who's your number one?
I mean, it's no surprise. And then I'm going to give you my 2 cents about it. I mean, I'm Tom Brady. I mean, I've never lived to see a guy win this many championships. Like people have lived to see Bill Russell win all those titles, or I mean, outside of Michael Jordan do it, or I've never seen it with them big Yankee names back in the day, or Bill Russell. No, Tom Brady's one of the only guy outside of Michael Jordan I've seen win countless championships. And no, I was not a Brady fan. At first, I liked him, but then when it was just you ever have that feeling like, oh, it's getting old to see this guy win over and over and over. You want to see something different. That's how, like, even people felt that way with LeBron and shit. Now, I was like that with Tom Brady. I was tired of seeing the same shit. Everybody was jumping the Patriots bandwagon back in the day, leaving their team, going to the Patriots, kind of like they did with Alabama in that time too. But when he retired, then I gave him respect. Like, yeah, I will acknowledge now he is the greatest to ever play this game. And I was not happy a time or two he's won the Super Bowl when I betted against him. There were times I did bet on him to win. Number one was the first year he won when they beat the Rams. Another time was...
Wait, you bet at 11 years old? It was 2002.
No, I mean, like I picked him to win. I wanted him to win.
Oh.
I didn't pick the Rams. I picked...
Well, I mean, that was like, it was the patriotic year. 9/11 happened.
You two at the
kind of
halftime
fell right into the
show.
Patriots' lap.
Right there, he did the national anthem.
Yeah, but look, there's only 3 times I picked Brady to actually win. That was the first. The second was against the Seahawks. It was at 49 because I didn't care for Richard. I hated Richard Sherman. The Seahawks was a little overrated. They were acting like they were the best team ever. And then the third year was the no call shit where we got robbed for having a Brady Brees Super Bowl. I wanted New England to beat the Rams. I boycotted that Super Bowl. When I saw that score, I said that was the worst shit. That's the worst. Was it like 13-6?
13-3.
13-3. I said we got robbed. We should have had a Breeze Brady Super. I wouldn't have cared if we lost that fucking Super Bowl.
That's because they wanted pretty boy Nick Lachey, Sean McVay in the Super Bowl. Because he was eye candy.
It still haunts us to this day. Like that haunts me worse than Alabama getting into the national championship and beating us in our own backyard.
Sean McVay was like, "Guess what, New Orleans? It's gonna be May in that Super Bowl."
Okay, I'm about to get off because I got my show going on in 5 minutes, but I'm about to go ahead and break it out to you. The Florida Panthers are 5 minutes away winning the Stanley Cup. They just scored their fifth goal with no goalie, and they're up 5-0. Now Tampa Bay's pissed off because they also.
Did you change your Marcus? Did you change your time on your show by chance?
Yeah, because I put 9:30, and I'm like, oh fuck, it's 9:40.
I was gonna say I forgot your show was going off at 10:30 Eastern, and I was like, wait, Marcus just said he had a show in like 5 minutes, and then I was like, oh shit, did he change it?
Well, I mean, I can go ahead and change it again because I said I was gonna go live immediately after this, but
right.
I'm about to get ready for.
Well,
that.
I'll be quick with my number one though, because he's the fourth of the four horsemen who are on the 50-50 all 32. Shocker. Tom Brady.
Am I the only one that doesn't have this one for a reason of cheering for a guy?
I mean,
Rich might not.
It's hard.
Rich might not.
I think we all cheered against Brady at one point or another as a fan because, like, oh, he's going to win number 7. Oh, he's going to win number 4. Now he's going to win 5. Oh, 6. Oh, Deflategate. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, we loved to hate him. Oh, why can't Peyton just finally beat this guy? Right? But, dude, he's one of 4 quarterbacks in NFL history, right, with over 50,000 and 500 touchdowns. One of four quarterbacks in NFL history to beat all 32 teams. He's got more Super Bowl rings than any franchise even has in the NFL with 7 Super Bowl rings.
All right.
Sorry, go back. Your NFL championships don't count. Now he's a minority owner of the Raiders. He's going to improve that team. He's an owner of a soccer team in England. No, by the way, his first year's owner, yeah, he got him promoted. So now they're in the championship league, one step away from the premiership. Everything this guy touches, he wins. It's Brady.
Well, if he owns the Raiders now, that we're waiting on that to happen. Which
the Raiders leaving Oakland was a good thing too.
Oh, by the way, they gave Ashton Jenny the new nickname, Boogeyman. That's his nickname now.
Might Cam Miller be the starter in Vegas?
God.
All right, I'm about to roll out.
Brady.
My number one, Joe Montana.
I'm not going to argue with that.
4-0 Super Bowls. He took the West Coast offense, which is the base of all the offenses we see now, and executed it. You can put it on paper all day. He perfected it, and everybody has modeled their offenses and their quarterback play off of Joe Montana. He was a scrambling quarterback. He was a running quarterback, and he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the history of the game. And yes, I also know Brady on my list. Is if you guys.
Yeah, I was about to say. I noticed. Yeah, so
a guy that made a career out of a cheap hit, a bad call, and knowing what plays were going to be called. Yeah, he's not going anywhere near my list. If I knew what the other team was going to be doing, I could win 7 Super Bowls too. So, no, Brady's not on my list. He wasn't even in my honorable mentions. But yeah, Joe Montana, number 1, and he's been number 1 for a long time. Now, that being said, could Mahomes get to that point?
Maybe.
Possibly. It's possible.
I agree with y'all. I agree with that 100%. I have him at 5 already. I think what the winning he's
I had
done,
him at
we've never
7.
seen it before.
So.
Mahomes didn't even make my
Yeah.
list. Hey, Haas, you know what's funny about real quick? 'Cause you mentioned the Panthers about to be the second team to repeat in the last 6 years. The last 6 Stanley Cups have all run through my wonderful state of Florida. Just saying.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Lightning's pissed
A
right now.
state that
'cause
doesn't even
they
know
also
what
did it.
hockey is, though, because it's warm.
Well, no, they do. Tampa's got a very robust youth hockey program. So does Miami. Jacksonville doesn't know what it is. Orlando knows what it is, but it's just kind of interesting that
I like
the last
Florida,
6
though.
years, the Stanley Cup has been in Florida every year of those
Only-
6 years.
Yeah, but now Tampa Bay's pissed because they did what they did. They had a three-peat, one back-to-back. They can't brag about that no more. Florida did it too. Yeah, in that decade, majority of the Stanley Cup was in Florida, outside of Vegas and the Avalanche. But
And how long has it been since Canada's actually won?
93 was the last
Yeah.
time.
I
93.
mean, this is
Montreal
like
Canadiens.
this
Yep,
is their
93.
sport, Canada. Like,
I'm just
93,
happy
and it was
Connor
Montreal.
McDavid doesn't get to hoist the cup again.
And
That
I get
makes
to
my
laugh
day.
about it. I get to laugh about it another year. But I'm about to roll out. I got to get ready for my show. I'm at Big Hoss 337. My show's on the go _TXLA. I'm on YouTube as well, and I'm about to get ready for that. Peace, guys, and
Marcus, good luck on your show tonight, buddy.
Adam,
Enjoy.
Jamie. I'll see y'all Thursday. Hopefully, Jeremy will be back too. But I'll
I
see
have
y'all
no
for the
idea what's going on with Jeremy. I was hoping to talk to Ken about that after work, if he heard anything, or after the show. I mean, after work. Jesus.
Well, I'll see y'all for the season finale of the UFL chat.
You
All
got
right,
it.
guys. We'll see you Thursday, Marcus.
Have a good one, brother.
See you, man.
All right, we got through our top 10. A little bit different open mic tonight. We focused on one topic and actually stayed on it.
Mostly.
Rich, it's your show. We calling it?
I need to. As you can tell, my voice is going to complete shit. And it's about 45 minutes longer than what I normally do this. So I need to bug if you guys want to stick around and talk for a while, but I got to bug out.
I guess that means pick a shorter topic next time, huh?
Well, I wasn't. I honestly was expecting more of what Jamie was doing than what everybody else did. You know, give the name, go. Give the name, go. But that's okay, because we had some good times with it. We had some fun with it and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
all good. I mean, it's not a major thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, my voice is going Casper. I got to get out of here. At Big Rich 8371 on Twitter. Facebook's just my name, Rich Richardson. Here tomorrow night, me and Adam, Steel City Sports Talk, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and Two Tire Change Mondays, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. It's our NASCAR show. Guys, I appreciate it.
Rich, I will
love to
see you
stick
tomorrow
around.
night, buddy.
If my voice is around, yeah. But
No, you
I'll
better
see you guys
gargle
later.
some salt water, baby. You better gargle some salt water, get that voice vocal cords back to normal.
Or as Boston would say, you got to get some salt water.
There you go.
Or
I appreciate you guys.
You got to get some salt water. Get some salt water. More salt.
Have a good
Use
one,
some
Rich.
salt water.
See you guys later.
All right. You can get me at Sports Talking It on Twitter, guys. Driving to the top on Twitter as well. Obviously, the YouTube page. Driving to the Top Productions over there. Yeah, we run this Tuesday. We have shows apparently every night now this week after looking at the schedule last week. I don't know what was going on. Everyone was doing shows, and that's the way it goes sometimes. But anyway, go ahead, Rav. Or if you want to let Ken go. I just kind of went.
Go ahead, Charles.
I can go ahead real quick. I know you don't like politics, but just pray for our military. What's going on? I'll leave it right there. Pray for all of them involved right now. Right now, this week, we're going to talk about, we're going to do our top 10 list on our channel as well. What is it?
Rav, it's not that I hate politics. I just don't like talking about them on the air.
No, I respect it. I'm not, it's cool. You know, we ain't got to, I don't either, frankly, but, you know, just pray for the military. Just put that out there so people
Oh, absolutely.
listen that that's out there. All right, so top 10 list, top 10 running backs in the NFL. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're also going to talk about who are the training camp battles, each training camp battle that the Ravens are having as well. We're going to talk about the Orioles minor league, the Shorebirds. We're going to talk about that, a little bit of the NBA Finals and the Orioles report. We're going to do that. I always talk about YouTube, but definitely check us out. We are on Spotify now. The podcasts are all on Spotify and Rumble as well. So definitely, it's not just the Twitch and the YouTube and everything. You could always check us out now on Spotify and on Rumble. If you're out there, definitely Bravery Sports Podcast on those platforms. And also to Fanatics links, check those out as well. Go ahead, man.
And you can find me at Ken the Bear Fan on X, at the Huddle Sports Network on YouTube, at Ken the Bear Fan at YouTube, Huddle Sports Network on Facebook, on the Huddle Sports Network app on Roku and Fire TV. You can catch every Monday through Friday, Ken and Ken in the morning at 10 a.m. Central, 11 on the East. For that show, we are also delayed on Spotify, Apple, and one other voice only. And then tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 on the East, so before the gentlemen here do their show, we have the House Hall Report on all the Huddle Sports Network pages, to include my X. And also Sunday morning, that coveted pregame time, 11 a.m. Central, noon East, we do House Hall Report. That's when you can catch me, so about 6-7 times a week. And definitely catch up with all of us on X, because we're all on X together. So if you're with one of us, you'll probably catch most of us. With the guys here, with the DTT guys. But yeah, catch us on X. We try to repost each other's stuff. Tomorrow morning, who knows what we'll talk about on Ken and Ken. We're very driven by comments, but we usually have something good. Interesting fact that we brought up last week on Ken and Ken that you might want to talk about tomorrow. Only 2 players drafted in the second round have signed contracts so far this year. And both of them have fully guaranteed contracts. So the question becomes, at what number do they stop fully guaranteeing second-round picks? That never happened until this year. The Bears have 3 second-round picks. So that we might talk a little bit more about that in the morning. Maybe you guys pick that up at some as well. But
I know
happy to be here, guys.
We didn't have a second-round pick.
Yeah, anytime. I'm always happy to be here anytime you guys ask.
Jamie, you're the closer.
You got it. You can find me, yours truly, at Bill's Chat 1, at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Molloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on Twitter X, theforkball.com, and stadiumrant.com, where I write about all sports. You guys can also follow me here on Driving to the Top Productions. You can follow me and Joe Dalio, our Driving to the Top Production Subway Conversation pod. We just launched we just recorded a new episode tonight at 8 o'clock, so go check that out. You can also follow me here on Driving to the Top Productions, every open sports mic every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. on this platform. You can also follow me every Wednesday night as Smoking Jeremy B and his Huddle podcast network with Ken the Bear Van and all them on Huddle Sports Network, where we just finished up our roundtable talk and with division roundups and things like that. We're going to continue to do that. And then you can follow me back here on this platform on Thursday as Adam, Marcus, and I, and hopefully Jeremy will be rounding out. We'll be putting a bow on season 2 of the UFL. So thank you guys very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, ring the bell for notifications. For more content on Driving to the Top Productions, you can please visit our YouTube page, Twitch stream, Facebook stream, X, wherever you get your podcast. Thanks very much for listening, folks, and we'll see you next week at 9 o'clock p.m. right here for Open Sports Mike Night on Driving to the Top Productions. Have a good night, folks. See you later.
Go Army. Beat Navy.